Varga in 4, Maria Granizo in 5, Miley Wade in 6, Marissa Nichols in 7, Bryn Cup in 8, Taya Bezbuk Marom in 9, and Ceslizar Elena in lane 10 and 11, Pablo Tronchen, Jose Pablo in 12, Jeremy Jordan in 13, Kulani Subioni in 14, Lincoln Lefava in 15, Leonardo Cruz in 16, Cesar Tehista in 17, Pau Martin Thier in 18, Dane Indraji in 19, and Caden Mavati in lane 20.
One minute, athletes. Thirty seconds. Ten seconds. Athletes, stand by.
And welcome to day 2 here on North Park. And after 3 events yesterday, we kick off the day with test number 4, pulling power. 3 rounds for time, 3 rope climbs, 10 deadlifts, sled pushing, and a 13-minute time cap.
That's right, Stella. We're kicking off the day with our teenage athletes, the boys and girls from the 14 to 15-year-old division. All the athletes starting off with 3 rope climbs, a few judges' hands in the air indicating that these athletes are on to their final. And there they are, a few of the boys off the rope and on to the deadlifts.
Absolutely, Logan. And 3 tests yesterday, 8 total with 100 points up to grab for this test. These athletes know what they got to do on the park this morning to make up that leaderboard position.
Looks like Jeremy Jordan is out in front, finishing up those first 10 deadlifts. Ahead of the rest of the pack, chasing him down, we got Kulani Subiono and Jose Pablo as they make their way down to the sled, beginning with their first section of the pull.
These athletes in the 14 to 15 division, deadlifting 185 and 275, and 170 and 195 on that sled. So big weights for these young athletes.
We're testing their pulling power here, kicking off their day 2 of the 2023 Noble CrossFit Games. Jeremy Jordan in lane 13 remains out ahead of the pack for the boys.
On my side, seeing the first girls coming back down the field, heading back in for that second round of rope climbs. And Maria Granizo in lane number 5 is the first girl to hit up that rope. Miley Varga, lane number 6, Miley Wade, second girl onto the rope.
For the boys, Jordan remains in first place in the heat. Subiono in second. Luna Alpizar in second. And Subiono in third. A handful of boys trying to chase down the leaders of the pack here as these guys take a crack at round number 2.
Of course, now we're seeing the different speed on the ascent of the rope climb, and these girls have a little opportunity to switch up that leaderboard, but it looks to be Maria Granizo out of lane number 5 that held it on those 3 rope climbs, and she is the first girl just ahead of Miley to start that second round of deadlifts.
Final rep of 10 there, complete in lane 13. Jeremy Jordan, no shirt, black shorts, makes his way back to his sled. Second section of pulling on this heavy sled.
We have a 3 rep difference between 1 and 2 on the girls' side. So Maria Granizo just holding on to that early lead. Miley Wade on the chase. So lanes 5 and 6, ladies and gentlemen, you're 1 and 2 right now.
The race for first between lanes 13 and 12 for the boys. Jeremy looking to hold on to his lead ahead of Jose Pablo in lane 12.
Yeah, and here we have Maria Granizo out of Artebros CrossFit in lane 5, heading back in for her 3rd and final round on the rope climbs.
And Stella, we've got a little bit of a foot race going down in lanes 13 and 12. These 2 boys fighting it out to hold on to first place in the heat. Jordan completes his first of his last 3 rope climbs, just ahead of Jose Pablo. Jordan, though, wasting no time. He's got 2 reps under his belt, 1 more rope climb. Final rope climb about to go down in lane 13.
Final rope climb also, Logan, going down in lane number 5. And the speed at which Maria Granizo descends that rope is just putting her slightly ahead of Miley on these 3 rope climbs. There she goes. Last rope climb complete, and she's coming into her final round of deadlifts.
We've got Jordan in 13 holding on to the lead, middle of the pack for the boys, but ahead of the pack for the heat. Final 10 deadlifts about to go down here.
You're seeing Maria Miravaga in 4. She's heading back in for her final round of rope climbs, also doing super well on this 3rd round here. Test number 4 for these age group athletes. So there we have your current leader, Maria Granizo, out of lane 5, pulling her final sled in towards her, checking out that technique, staying low, using those hips to drive that pull. After the fatigue of the rope climbs and deadlifts, the grip is going to be feeling pretty tired now at this stage of this test.
Here comes Jeremy Jordan. 3 pulls in ahead of Jose Pablo Luna Alpizar. The race for first in the heat going down for the boys, lanes 12 and 13. They are going pull for pull, hand over hand, right there in the middle of the field for the boys.
Miley Wade out of 6, now on to her final pull, but look out, Maria Granizo is going to be the first athlete to begin the push to the finish line. Looks like it might be a test win on event number 4 for Maria Granizo out of lane 5.
Here come the boys. It's been a race the whole time, but Jose Pablo able to keep the rope on his sled first, keeping those feet nice and quick. Jose Pablo now out in front of Jeremy Jordan. And see if he can keep that pace up and come across the finish line first.
170 pounds on this sled for the girls in the 14 to 15 age group. Maria working super hard out there. Now you're seeing Miley Wade also on her way to the finish line, coming up the North Park field, heading in now close behind, but it looks like Maria Granizo is going to hold on to that early lead.
And our first finisher, North Park, please give it up for Jose Pablo Luna Alpizar.
And for the girls, it is a test win for Maria Granizo.
First boy, first girl across the finish line, and now looking to take second place in the heat, but stopping just before that end zone. Jeremy Jordan there in the dark shorts, no shirt. Final feet left of that sled push, and Jordan will take second in the heat.
For the girls, we've got Miley Wade out of lane 6. She's a few hundred feet to go, chasing now for third position in this heat. Mira Varga out of lane number 4, also on her push and on her way to finish this test.
Caden Mavity now across the finish line, taking an unofficial 4th place finish in the test.
We have Miley Wade across the line, just under that 9:30 mark. Mira Varga is on the move. Bryn Kopp out of lane 8, pushing her way to the finish line now.
We got Kulani Subiono in lane 14 with just feet between his sled and that finish line. He gets low, trying to get those last few steps.
Yeah, the technique that these athletes are using on this push, digging deep with those toes into the turf, really driving, arms out locked, and just trying to drive as much power through the quads as possible.
Pal Martin-Thier now in lane 18, looking to be the next to finish. And Pal makes it over just over the 10.5-minute mark.
And right here for the girls, a little competition here in lanes 2 and 3. Logan, Trenna Gessel, Marley Francis, both pulling their sleds on that final third sled pull. Ava Bounty also coming in lane number 1. That'll be a little push to the finish line for these 3 athletes.
We're just past the 11-minute mark, and these athletes are fighting against a 13-minute time cap. Athletes, you have less than 2 minutes on the clock.
So with 3 of our girls over the line, your 1, 2, and 3. Opportunity now for the rest of this field to take their place on the leaderboard for test number 4. I got lanes 1, 2, and 3 all loaded up, ready for the push. But it's going to be Trenna Gessel that makes a start first on that 170-pound push. Check out the speed of Marley Francis, though, in lane number 3. She is driving hard for that finish line, takes over. It's like she could be the 4th athlete over the line. It's going to be a little rocky now, these 2.
1 minute, 1 minute.
Marley Francis is not stopping on that sled push. She can see the finish line. Trenna Gessel, Ava Bounty, all these athletes moving.
Dane Andrade next across the line for the boys. And with 30 seconds on the clock, North Park, what do you say? Let's get a few more of these athletes into that end zone. Final 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, time. North Park, please keep that round of applause going for our 14 to 15-year-old teenage boys and girls athletes. Great job.
And coming out next, we have our 16 to 17 boys and girls coming onto the park for test number 4, pulling power.
Huge thank you to Rogue for providing all of the equipment for the finals. Rogue is the official equipment supplier of CrossFit. Be sure to grab your gear at roguefitness.com and try out some of these workouts yourself.
That stuff throughout, sure. Just so people know, like that's 3, 10, and the weight, yep, and the weight in the sled, sure. And also, there was another point I was say, oh, like the kettlebell swing yesterday had a different standard that I don't think people are all familiar with. Saying like, hey, this is a different standard, kind of, or don't say different standard, but here is the standard. Yep. So on all of this stuff, this is pretty straightforward, but just think about that stuff. These guys, a lot of these people have reached the website. They don't know what the workout is, so keeping them updated on it.
Thank you, Dave. All right, so you are seeing the equipment team now switching up the weight for the 16 to 17. 245 and 350 on the deadlift for these girls and boys. 215 and 260 coming out now onto the sled. So a little increase in the weight for this next division, the 16 to 17. And let's welcome our boys and girls of the 16 to 17 age group onto the floor for test number 4. In lane 1, Riley Beeb, Bergros Bjornsdotter in 2, Hayley Rolfe in 3, Reese Littlewood in 4. In lane 5, Lucy McGonigal, Trista Smith in 6, Jenna Michelotti in 7, Elia Del Olmo in 8, Hayes Willard in 9, and Veronica Voriskova in 10. In lane 11, Isa Weber, Gustavo Push in 12, RJ Meestra in 13. In lane 14, Kyle McElroy, Ty Jenkins in 15, Brandon Gaskill in 16, Hugo Janssen in 17, Caden Myers in 18. In lane 19, Kaio Saboni, and Caden Hogan rounds off the heat in lane 20.
One minute, athletes. Thirty seconds. Ten seconds. Stand by.
And so welcome to day 2 for our age group and adapted division. And after 3 tests yesterday, this is test number 4, pulling power. These athletes have 3 rounds for time of 3 rope climbs, 10 deadlifts, and that sled pull, completing the workout with a 126-foot sled push. And the weights on the deadlift for the 16 to 17 division, 245 for the girls, 350 for the boys. And on the sled, the 215 and 260 pounds. McGonigal, the leader going into this fourth test, is the first girl to ascend the rope for one of the 3 rope climbs. Chasing her, Haley Rolfe in lane 3, and Trista Smith over there in 6. All of these girls in with a running for a top 3 finish in this fourth test.
The leaders of the boys back to round 2 of 10 350-pound deadlifts there in the middle of the field. Looks like final 4 reps for Caden Hogan in lane 20.
So on the girls' side, Lucy McGonigal out of lane number 5, the Irish athlete from CrossFit Resplendent. She's the first athlete to come through that second round of rope climbs. Check it out, 245-pound deadlifts, 10 reps. The hand is up. It looks like Lucy is about to close out her final 3 reps. So 7 and 3 for Lucy on that deadlift bar.
The leader for the boys remains Caden Myers, lane 18, blue t-shirt, gray shorts. Digging deep, using that full hip extension to pull that 260-pound sled down his lane.
Haley Rolfe, Trista Smith sitting in 2 and 3, but your leader right now, Lucy McGonigal, center of the field, ladies and gentlemen, makes a start on her second sled pull. And it's going to be Trista Smith that progresses through the second set of 10 deadlifts. Just following her now, lane number 3, Haley Rolfe.
Little bit of a shakeup on the boys' side as we have 4 gentlemen wrap up the second sled pull and head to the rope for their 3rd and final round of rope climbs. We've got Jenkins, we've got Myers, and we've got Hogan, all with 1 rep under their belts. 2 to go for our heat leaders.
So Lucy McGonigal making her way back to the final rope climbs. Now Lucy appeared out there in Berlin at the semi-final event. She is used to this sled pull action. Maybe that's giving her a little bit of an advantage on this field. She was out there at the semi-finals doing a very similar movement. So here she goes, leading the feed right now for the 16 to 17-year-olds. 1 rope climb complete and 2 remaining.
And we've got 3 boys off the rope. Jenkins, Myers, and Hogan. Neck and neck. Myers, though, first to crack. Wasting no time, 2 reps under his belt. He's going for 3 unbroken.
We had Trista Smith out there in 6. And lane number 2, Bjornsdotter, now making an appearance. And it looks like she is just ahead of Haley Rolfe in that 3rd position. So again, lots to play for now for this final round on pulling power, this 4th test here on Rogue North Park on day 2 of competition at the Noble 2023 CrossFit Games.
Your first place athlete coming into day 2 in lane 15, blue shorts, black tank, Ty Jenkins wraps up his final 10 deadlifts first. But just 1 step behind him, blue t-shirt, gray shorts, is Myers. These boys fighting for the first place in the test. We are not leaving out Caden Hogan in lane 20, black shorts, no shirt.
Lucy McGonigal over here, 7 and 3 on her 3rd set of 245 deadlifts. She stuck to that strategy all the way through this test, closing out that final rep. She's going to head forward now for her final sled pull.
Ty Jenkins, middle of the field for the boys, lane 15. CrossFit Games vet, showing us what he means. He was not out in front first, but he came from behind, making up some space. And there he goes, The final sled push for your test leader going down in the middle of the field, Mr. Ty Jenkins.
So, as I said, Lucy McGonigal out in front on the girls' side, but the door is very open for second and third right now in the heat. You have Riley Beebe out here, Bourne's daughter, Haley Rolfe and Trista Smith all on that deadlift bar. Haley Rolfe moves forward. She's athlete number 2 to start her third and final pull.
Jenkins checking over his shoulder. He sees that he still has the lead over Caden Myers. Jenkins there in the blue shorts with his final 42 feet of pushing.
Trista Smith from CrossFit Forks, Vancouver will be the third athlete to make a start on that final 215-pound pull. But Lucy McGonigal, ladies and gentlemen, has loaded the sled, and she is on the final push now. Center of the field, your current leader, Lucy McGonigal.
And ladies and gentlemen, as he brings his sled across the finish line, please make some noise for Mr. Ty Jenkins. Unofficial first place in the test going to Jenkins. And now the race for second between lanes 18 and 17. Caden Myers and Hugo Janison. Will Myers be able to hold on to his lead?
Haley Rolfe, lane number 3. She was fast through that third pull. Sled is loaded, and look at the power coming through the legs of Haley Rolfe as she drives that sled all the way up the field. 215 pounds for these 16 to 17 age group athletes.
Caden Myers with second place, and here comes Hugo Jansen in third.
Just passing the 10-minute mark, like you said, just under 3 minutes remaining for these athletes. Lucy McGonigal taking a little breather, but she's just a few feet away from crossing the line. Your current leader after the first 3 tests. And it looks like Lucy McGonigal is about to take the test win for test number 4.
Back-to-back finishes for Caden Hogan and Kaya Subiono. Just behind them, RJ Mestre in.
Well, look out, look out. The race is on for the girls' side. Number 2, Haley Rolfe just out in front, but Trista Smith, she's driving hard out there in lane number 6. Can Haley Rolfe hang on to this second place position?
The fight going down on the ladies' side with 90 seconds on the clock. Athletes, you have a minute and a half.
And Haley Rolfe takes the second place, but it's all action for third. Look at the oh my goodness, lane 1, 2, Trista Smith out there in 6. Trista Smith over the line in unofficial third.
Kyle McElroy looking to be the next boy to cross the finish line with 1 minute on the clock. Athletes, you have less than 1 minute.
Madison, let's get behind these 16 to 17 athletes. Let's get them up North Park and over that finish line in these final few seconds.
215 pounds for the girls, 260 pounds for the boys with 30 seconds on the clock.
Two more girls make it over the line, Logan.
10 seconds. McElroy makes it across. Final 3, 2, 1, time.
Well, a huge congratulations to our 16 to 17 boys and girls test number 4 pulling power. And up next, we are bringing you our 45 to 49 age group division.
Make sure to be back here at the North Park at 1:40 today for our opening ceremonies. Come help us celebrate the start of the 2023 Noble CrossFit Games with an F-35 flyover and the singing of the United States National Anthem by the Madison Youth Choir during the opening ceremonies. All athletes competing will parade by country right here today in the Rogue North Park at 1:40. Hope to see you there.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, be all you can be. And for a chance to win a barbell, please visit the U.S. Army truck right out there near North Park, or go visit goarmy.com for more information. And a warm welcome to our 45 to 49 division men and women. In lane 1, Lucian Macias. In 2, Gabriela Azevedo. In 3, Carrie Riga. Carolina Gutierrez. In 4, Kelly Friel. In 5. In lane 6, Amy Chapaton. Laura Nielsen in 7. Murtuuli Kallio in 8. In lane 9, Jackie Kale. And Danica Rolfe in lane number 10. In 11, Spencer Whiteley. Gerhard Garcia in 12. David Levy in 13. Vlad Lishkovich in 14. Jason Grubb in 15. In lane 16, Christopher Anderson. Mike Kern in 17. Ryan Retke in 18. Andrea Del Salvatore in 19. And Justin La Sala takes lane 20.
1 minute. Thirty seconds. Ten seconds. Athletes stand by.
Well, we are back here on day 2 of competition on the Rogue North Park with our age group and adapted athletes for test number 4, pulling power. And this is 3 rounds for time of 3 rope climbs, 10 deadlifts, a 42-foot sled pull, and that finishing 126-foot sled pull. And these athletes have 350 and 245 pounds on their deadlifts and 260 and 215 pounds with a 13-minute time cap.
Stella said it, all of these athletes kicking it off with 3 rope climbs, and Vlad Lejskovic in lane 14, first male athlete off the rope and making his way to his deadlift bar. That bar loaded up to 350 pounds for the gentleman.
Amy Chapperton is the first woman onto the deadlift. Kelly Friel hot on her heels. And looking at the standings from yesterday, Kelly Friel and Amy sitting in first and second. So these girls going out hot for this 4th test, pulling power.
Mike Kern, lane 17, off of the deadlifts. Just behind Jason Grubb, lane 15.
We have Laura Nielsen out of lane number 7 from CrossFit Krypton, and Amy Chapperton, Kelly Friel, the first 3 athletes on the women's side to make it to that first pull.
Grubb in lane 15, middle of the field for the men coming into day 2, sitting in first place. Grubb looking for another test win here as he wraps us up his first sled pull. He's gonna run that rope down his lane before heading back to begin round number 2.
Well, Kelly Friel, your current leader overall after the first 3 tests, made light work of that 215 pull. She's moving back down North Park, just ahead of Amy Chapperton there. So these women now heading in for the second round of 3 rope climbs.
Here comes your leader after day 1, and your leader of the heat, Jason Grubb, lane 15, tan shorts, gray tank. He's being chased down by Mike Kern in lane 17. Kern in the tan shorts, black tank. And Ryan Retke rounding out the top 3 for the men in all blue. Retke in lane 18.
On the women's side, Kelly Friel in the green out of lane number 5. Amy Chapperton on her right, and Laura Nielsen, lane number 7 in the blue tank. CrossFit Krypton's athlete coming into your 1, 2, and 3, starting the second round.
The leader for the men has completed his second round of 3 rope climbs. Jason Grubb, lane 15, middle of the field for the gents. He grips and rips that 350-pound Rogue barbell. And a big set going unbroken.
Wow, I mean, Logan, this is a 13-minute time cap, just passing the 3.5-minute mark. Not messing around this morning on North Park, this incredible age group, 45 to 49.
Grubb goes unbroken for his second set of 10 deadlifts. Making light weight of that 350 pounds on the barbell. He wastes no time. Back to the sled, going hand over hand. Big hip extension as he pulls that 260-pound sled down his lane. Round number 2, almost complete for Grubb.
Kelly Friel, 245-pound, 10 deadlifts complete of the second round, choosing 6 and 4. Let's see if she holds on to that strategy. Making her way back now to that 215 sled pull for the second round, closing it down. Amy Chapperton in the gray leggings. Second athlete to progress through, and Laura Nielsen in the blue tank out there working through her second round of these 245 deadlifts.
Stella, we've got our leader way out in front. He's the only athlete back to the rig. 1 rope climb complete for Jason Grubb. A quick breath, and Grubb going for his second of 3. Back here on the Zeus rig, final rope climbs going down for our leader, Mike Kern, lane 17, holding on to second place in the test.
Well, your leader, Kelly Friel, also out in front through that second sled pull, heads back into her third and final round. Laura Nielsen sitting 4th overall on the standings, looking to create an impact on the leaderboard in this 4th test. Sitting 3rd right now in the heat, just behind 1 and 2, Kelly and Amy. Also 1 and 2 overall after the first 3 tests.
For the men, it goes 1 Grubb, 2 Kern, and 3 Retke. Lajskovic just a few feet behind Retke. See if he can make any moves to crack into the top 3 of the heat.
Let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, we call this 4th test pulling power, and it's exactly that. The grip of these athletes after these significantly heavy deadlifts, pulling that sled, and then it heads straight back into the rope climb. They've got to clamp tight to make sure they release the grip as much as they can ahead of this final round of deadlifts. And Kelly Friel moves forward to her barbell for her 3rd round.
Ladies and gentlemen, please place your eyes to the middle of the North Park field on the men's side. Jason Grubb with a commanding lead in the heat. Gray tank, tan shorts, those blue shoes. Final feet on the sled pull here. As soon as he gets that sled across the line, he's going to load that rope up on top of the weights and push that 260-pound sled all the way into the end zone.
We've got Gabriela Azevedo, Carrie Riga, and Carolina Gutierrez. Lanes 2, 3, and 4, just closing out that second round of the sled pull. Meanwhile, Kelly Friel has her final 4 deadlifts remaining before she moves forward for that final sled pull.
No one on Grubb's heels, and the fight will be for second place. If Grubb's able to hold on to the lead between Ryan Retke in all blue, Mike Kern in the tan shorts, but coming from behind, Vlad Lajskovic. Gray shirt, tan shorts. Lajskovic in lane 14, coming in today, sitting in 3rd, looking to make some moves here on day 2.
And look at the power that Kelly Friel is able to command on that sled pull. A strong athlete. She performed well yesterday in the lifts. And here she is, hip slow, driving forward and pressing through that hip extension to move that sled through. She is well out in front. Your 2nd and 3rd, Amy Chapperton and Laura Nielsen, just closing out the deadlift. But it looks like Kelly Friel has a comfortable lead right now in this 4th test.
Ladies and gentlemen, please place your eyes on lane 15. There he is, calling for your applause. It's going to be his last interval, his last few feet, getting that sled and his feet over the black line. Here we go. We're getting behind him. Make some noise as he gets that sled in himself across the finish line. Give it up for Jason Grubb.
And on the women's side, take a look out of lane number 5, Kelly Friel from the United Kingdom, a Games champion veteran here, her first year in this new age group, making her way down North Park. Looks like we might have another event win for Kelly Friel at a lane 5.
An easy test win for Grubb. Grubb, the only gentleman across the finish line, and now it's going to be the race for second. Lajskovic in lane 14. Gray shirt, tan shorts, just a few feet ahead of Ryan Retke, lane 18 in all blue. We're gonna see which one of these gentlemen can keep digging and keep those feet moving. We gotta get that sled and their feet across the finish line. We're not leaving out Mike Kern in the tan shorts, black tank.
Yeah, a little check behind for Kelly Friel over her left shoulder. She sees Amy Chapperton on the move. Takes a little breather, just checks out where she is. Laura Nielsen coming through the North Park on that push for her. 3rd position, sitting 4th overall. This could be a good event for Laura Nielsen over there in lane number 7.
Vlad with a little hiccup right before the finish line. Ryan Retke back to his sled.
Well, Kelly Friel has made it to the sea of blue. She knows she is just a couple of feet from that line now. Amy Chapperton making good work, progressing behind her. But ladies and gentlemen, it's Kelly Friel that takes event win for test number 4.
On the men's side, Lajskovic takes second. Kern coming from behind takes 3rd. And Ryan Retke now across the line with a solid 4th place finish.
Amy Chapperton creeping closer to that finish line. Nola Nielsen over there working hard. Carolina Gutierrez here in lane number 4. She's on the move now, heading out to the finish line.
Final 1 minute on the clock. 1 minute remains.
Amy Chapperton crosses the line, unofficial 2nd in the test for Amy. Laura Nielsen now reaching the blue, just a few feet for her to get over the line.
Chris Anderson making it into the end zone. 30 seconds remain.
Laura Nielsen, unofficial 3rd in the event.
North Park, let's keep these athletes moving in their final 10 seconds. Last 3, 2, 1, time.
Incredible work there from our 45 to 49 division age group athletes. Coming out next, the 40 to 44 division, test number 4, pulling power.
Make sure you stop by the Trifecta booth and enter to win for free meals, snag exclusive Trifecta t-shirts, pick up a $60 gift card, and meet your favorite athletes. Big thanks to Trifecta.
And later on this afternoon, we have test number 6 for our age group and adapted athletes. So fans, please make sure to line the 5K course through all the campground this evening, supporting all the athletes competing in this 5K. The event will begin in North Park at 6:45 p.m. is that the actual?
I think so, right?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm enjoying my scribbly writing.
It's good.
It's the same anyway as this, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Next two events.
So you're working for CrossFit. That's fun.
Yeah.
First time for that?
Kinda. Like 2 years ago, I was working for CrossFit UK,
Okay.
so I came, yeah. And
Do
then,
you guys know each other?
yeah.
Okay, good.
And then they asked me to be the head of photography.
Okay.
They flew me over.
That's awesome.
Right.
How's it going?
Well, it's only day 2. Asked me on Saturday.
Okay. Because it's 10.
Oh,
Stay over here because one of us should go to the Coliseum, right?
yeah, remind me who.
I don't remember. Let's find out. Okay, so I'm going to the Coliseum. So stay here.
Do time.
Yep, you'll do time and names.
Got it. I'm on time now. Just tell me when. And I'll do the names and I'll come back to you. Let's give a very warm welcome to the 40 to 44 age group men and women in lane 1. Dina Posey, Kelly Abney in 2, Rebecca Voigt-Miller in 3. In 4, Jen Ryan, Andrea Pinheiro in lane number 5. In lane 6, Samantha Briggs, Rachel Green in 7, Megan Apostolaris in 8, Hope Cicero in 9, and Rachel Caesar in 10. In lane 11, Ryan Woodall, Christian Jensen in 12, Kane Hayes in 13, Chicho Casada in 14, Rudolph Berger in 15, Bruno Mitieo in 16, František Heriban in 17, Casper Meyrup in 18, Michael Lavieri in 19, and Roy Viga in lane 20.
You good? Okay, have fun.
One minute, athletes.
Let's go, Rudy!
30 seconds. Ten seconds. Stand by. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to North Park here for test number 4, pulling power for our age group and adapted athletes. This is day 2 of competition, and we have 3 rounds for time, 3 rope climbs, 10 deadlifts, 42-foot sled push. and pull. This is 350 pounds and 245 on the deadlift bar for our men and women. And the sled weighing in at 260 and 215 pounds. We have a 13-minute time cap on this event, but already you are seeing the first of your men through the 3 rope climbs of the first round, making their way to this deadlift bar. 350 pounds, 10 reps, before moving forward to the judge where they'll start that first sled pull. Again, 260 on the sled for the men, 215 for the women in this age group, 40 to 44. So it looks like Heraban from CrossFit Destiny was the first athlete to make it through to that first round on the pull, making light work. But look out, look out. Your first athletes are moving back in now for that second set of 3 rope climbs. Pulling power is everything we are testing here in this 4th test of 8 for the age group athletes. Second day of competition, and the heat is rising here in Madison on Rogue North Park. Just past the 2-minute mark though, and there you have in lane 16, Bruno Mitieo. He's the first athlete to make a start. 1 complete for Bruno. Chasing him, Kane Hayes in lane number 13. Next to him, Chicho Casado out of 14, moving well. Let's take a little look on the women's side. Andreo Pinheiro, lane number 5, making her way up for her final rope climb. Jen Ryan, out of 4, looks to have 1 rope climb remaining. Samantha Briggs, out of 6, 1 complete, 2 more rope climbs for Sam to get up and onto that deadlift bar for the second round of 10. Don't need to remind you, 245 pounds on the sled for these age group women. 350 for the men's side. Lightweight though for these guys, making it look super smooth. So the first woman coming through the deadlifts, holding on to that early lead, Andrea Pinheiro from CrossFit Lego Seoul, out there in lane number 5. She's the first woman to get through the round of 10 for second round of deadlifts. Jen Ryan coming through in second, and Rebecca Voigt-Miller here, CrossFit Training Yards athlete, coming into third in the heat right now on this second round of sled pull. But it is all going on the far side with the men. Pretty close for 2 or 3 of these athletes coming through that second sled pull. However, here on the women's side, a clear lead now for Andrea in lane number 5. She has made light work of that sled pull. Heads back in for her third and final round on the rope climbs. Just past the 5-minute mark into this 13 cap. Kelly Abney here in lane number 2. 2 deadlifts to go for her to close out. £245, locks it out at the top. Kelly Abney is through to the sled pull. So holding on to that 1, 2, and 3, Andrea Pinheiro, Jen Ryan, Rebecca Voigt-Miller, the first 3 women to make a start on the 3rd and final round. And on the far side with the men, it looks like we have our first couple of athletes through to the deadlift bar. £350 deadlifts for the men in this 40 to 44 age group. 10 reps, and there we go. It looks to be Kane Hayes, I believe, who comes through, making a start on that deadlift through to the final pull. Well, we've got 3 sleds on the move on the men's side. The final part of this 4th test, of course, these athletes will load the rope onto the sled. They got a 126-foot push to get them back to the finish line to take this event, this 4th test. Kane Hayes sitting 6th overall after the first 3 tests, so pushing out in front on this 4th test here on the 2nd day of competition. And ladies and gentlemen, eyes on to the men's side, as there you see the first athlete making a start on that final attack on this 4th test. Just past the 8-minute mark. Taking a little breather there. 1/3 of the way up the North Park. These male athletes, 260 pounds on this sled. And after all of that pulling, it is now blowing up the quads as these athletes push their way to the finish line. But look out, look out. The race is on over here. We have 3 athletes heading down. Well, they are screaming his name. It's coming out on the 2nd side now. Chichico Casado, athlete number 406. He takes the event win on the men's side, just ahead of Michael Lahier in lane 419. And Rudolf Berger is over the line. Your 1, 2, and 3 on the men's side. Eyes now on to the women's field. Andrea Pinheiro, she's held on to an early lead. She is pushing her way through. Sam Briggs, though, is hot on her heels. But it looks like it's going to be a heat win for Andrea Pinheiro. Just past the 10:30 mark. Samantha Briggs, ladies and gentlemen, former CrossFit Games champion, is coming towards the finish line in test number 4. And Samantha Briggs takes unofficial second in this test. Make some noise. 2 minutes remaining, athletes. Rebecca Voigt-Miller is heading into that finish line. An experienced competitor, and what an incredible finish for Rebecca Voigt-Miller in test number 4. Jen Ryan is going to be the next woman across the line. Jen Ryan creeping over. 7 of your men athletes now are through this test. Lane number 12, Christian Jensen, crossing the line. Here comes František Heriban in 17. He's moving and he makes it over the line with 1 minute remaining. Lane 11, Ryan Woodall. 30 seconds. Madison, let's make some noise for these athletes as they come into the final few seconds of this 4th test. 10 seconds. Counting you down. 3, 2, 1, time. And that is the 40 to 44 men and women pulling power test number 4. Up next, we are bringing out our 35 to 39 age group. Second day of competition. And hard work pays off. Training is for those who like to show up and work hard. If you're a harder worker and you're looking for a program to better your best in and out of the gym, please sign up for HWPO training today. More action coming out on Rogue North Park this morning. Our second day of competition here at the Noble 2023 CrossFit Games. Up next, the 35 to 39 division age group. Please welcome our 35 to 39 men and women onto North Park. In lane 1, Belinda Becker. In 2, Danny Horan, Amy Morton in 3. In lane 4, Stacey Tovar. Chelsea Nicholas in 5. Colette Casey in 6. In lane 7, Laurie Clement. Svetlana Veselova in lane number 8. And Carmen Perez Ruiz in lane number 9. In lane 11, Stephen Fawcett in 12. Scott Panchik. Adam de Jong in 13. Ionis Papadopoulos in 14. Sam Dancer in lane 15. Gintas Petrikas in 16. In lane 17, Brian Wong. Josh Marunde in 18. Lars Christensen in 19. And lane 20, Julian Lopez. One minute, athletes.
Allez, Julian!
30 seconds. Ten seconds. Stand by. Our second day of competition here on Rogue North Park for the age group and adapted athletes. Welcome to test number 4. This is pulling power. 3 rounds for time, 3 rope climbs, 10 deadlifts, a 42-foot sled pull. With a 13-minute time cap, this test completed with that 126-foot sled push. And I can tell you, the deadlift weight for the men, 350, 245 for our women, and that 260 and 215 sled. And already the leading men in the field coming through to that deadlift bar. Lightweight on the bar for these athletes, 350 pounds for the men, and we are expecting some of these athletes in the 35 to 39 go unbroken. And there you see it, ladies and gentlemen. We see it out on the field. It's Scott Panchik, it's Sam Dancer putting the pace down on this first round of pulling power. £260. Sam Dancer is going to be the first man to make it through to the second round of the rope climbs. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen. 1 minute 30 in and 1 round complete for Sam Dancer out there in lane number 15. Brian Wong out of 17. Coming onto that rope, Gintas Petrikas also in lane 16. Your 1, 2, and 3 right now on the men's side. And as we speak, and these men make it through the 3 rope climbs, the women in the 35 to 39 head back up the field. The Rogue North Park is alive with age group athletes here. This is the second day of competition at the 2023 Noble CrossFit Games. And after 3 events, we've got Chelsea Nicholas sitting up there in first spot. On the women's side, Colette Casey, Stacey Tovar in second and third. So those women looking to create an impact on this 4th test. 8 tests for our age group and adapted athletes across this 3-day competition. But here we have your current leaders. On the men's side, Sam Dancer. Following him down the park is Brian Wong. Scott Panchek moving his sled down there in lane number 12. We've got Gintas Petrikas also on the move in lane 16. And you're seeing these athletes get low, driving those hips through on that extension, hand over hand. But lightweight, baby, for Sam Dancer as he heads back in. 3rd and final round on the rope climbs. 4 minutes in to this 13 cap. Stephen Fawcett over there in lane 11, making his way back to the sled. Strong work on the deadlifts for Stephen Fawcett coming out of High Performance CrossFit back there in the United Kingdom. All right, so the race is on now in your men's division here on the floor in North Park, 35 to 39 age group. Looking to close out event number 4 in this test, pulling power, 5 minutes in to the 13 cap. With 1 rope climb remaining for Sam Dancer. But the first athlete to make it through to the deadlift bar, coming out of 16, Gintas Petrikas. Scott Panchek, though, look at the speed that the touch and go is happening out there for Scott Panchek in lane 12. Strong work for these athletes. Scott Panchek is the first athlete through the 3rd round of the deadlifts. He makes a start on the sled pull. Lane number 12 on the move. Brian Wong in 17, starting the final pull. £260. Well, it is so close right now for these men. Sam Dancer is just pulling at that sled, hand over hand, to get it over the line. Lane number 14, Ionis Papadopoulos from Core Force CrossFit loads his sled, and look out, the race is on now, ladies and gentlemen. Lane 14, So lane 15, 126 feet for these male athletes. Who is going to be the first over the line to take test number 4 on this 35 to 39?
We've got Tovar working on another set of deadlifts. On the female side.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the power in the legs is proven here. Sam Dancer has pushed his way to an event win. Test number 4 is won by Sam Dancer in 7 minutes and 50 seconds. Unofficial. What an incredible performance from the returning athlete out here on North Park, Sam Dancer.
How about Stacy Tovar out of CrossFit Omaha, now onto her final sled pull. Chelsea Nicholas trying to hawk her down.
And your second athlete over the line is Ionis Papadopoulos. And it looks like Scott Panchek is over the line, taking unofficial third. I don't know, Brian Wong was up there too. Patricus also over the line. Wow, it is all happening right here, Brenton, on the men's side.
And here we go, just as you saw on that men's side, now we have the women. It's gonna come down to that sled push. How about Tovar? Going right to work here, not wasting any time. Head down, legs driving. Tovar able to get to that first line. Here comes Chelsea Nicholas out of CrossFit Advantage. Nicholas trying to hold off Tovar as coming into today. Tovar currently in third. We'll see if Tovar can move up the leaderboard here. She's gonna have to finish strong on this final sled push.
And I've got more athletes, Brenton, coming towards the finish line out here. Josh Marunde, lane 18, is on the move. He's coming in close. Stephen Fawcett back there out of lane 11. Previous CrossFit Games athlete making his debut here on the 35 to 39 age group, starting his final attack on this finish line.
Here we go, final couple feet. It looks like Chelsea Nicholas is going to be able to take, if she can hold for these last about 5 feet. Nicholas, Tovar giving everything she can to catch her.
Julian Lopez over the line here.
But it will be Chelsea Nicholas taking another event win. As now Tovar looking to finish out her final portion.
We got Josh Marunde out here at 18 over the line.
And Tovar able to cross that finish line just before the 11-minute mark. So Nicholas 1, Tovar 2.
Athletes, 2 minutes remaining.
And now Casey looking to hold strong in third place. Final couple feet here for Casey out of B CrossFit.
Madison, where are you at? Let's make some noise for these athletes working hard in this midday sun coming up. Stephen Fawcett from the United Kingdom coming close to the line now. He's just a few feet away. Let's get behind these athletes as they come in to the finish of test number 4.
Final couple feet here. Colette Casey, and she will wrap up the event.
1 minute remaining. Stephen Fawcett, and he is over the line. 12:06 unofficial, coming out of High Performance CrossFit, Stephen Fawcett.
Horan and Morton trying to finish out underneath the cap and add points to their overall score. Clement as well.
"30 seconds.
Amy Morton able to get across the finish line. And now Danny able to cross the finish line just before the cap.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. Ladies and gentlemen, show your appreciation for our 35 to 39 division, men and women. Test number 4 coming up next, right here in the Rogue North Park. Our adapted men and women of the upper and lower extremity division, pulling power. on. Xavier Osa in 17, Casey Acree in 18, Alexis Fioroisi in 19, and Samuel Pera in lane 20.
What's the time? Schroeder's right. They have the master.
1 minute.
Don't. Okay, I forgot it. That's fine.
My bad. 30 seconds. Ten seconds. Athletes stand by.
And we are joined again here on Rogue North Park for day 2 of competition by our upper and lower extremity adapted division. And you are seeing pulling power. This is test number 4 with a 13-minute time cap. And for the lower extremity division, 1 legless rope climb and 10 deadlifts, 275, 185 on those deadlift bars. And for the upper, 2 rope climbs and 10 deadlifts.
All right, you said it, a combo. Deadlifts and rope climbs. And now some sled work. As athletes continuing to work their way this beautiful morning.
Our lower extremity division pulling 235 and 170 on those sled pulls. The upper 235, 195 pounds. Strong work from these top 5 in the world. Upper and lower extremity CrossFit athletes here, featuring on day 2 of our 2023 Noble CrossFit Games.
How about Rogan Dean making way on that first round as he will now make his way back towards the rope climbs. Dean, no problem there. Pinar making his way towards the rope. Felipe as well. All starting into that second round here as Rogan Dean working on the deadlifts.
Bailey Hooper on the women's side. You're seeing her out in lane number 4. Heading up on that legless rope climb. Strong work for this lower extremity athlete, Bailey Hooper.
Samuel Pera trying to chase down our leader, Casey Acree. Acree with a 1 rep lead here on the rope climbs here in round number 2.
Valerie Cohen making it up that rope climb, heads back in for her 275-pound deadlifts of the second round. Out of lane number 3 here on the women's side.
No problem for Acree on the second set of rope climbs. He's going to move back to the deadlift barbell. But the pulling continues for our lower extremity athletes. Rogan Dean advancing into his third and final round.
Lauren Farhat out of CrossFit Arvada, lane number 1, making her way down North Park and about to start the first round on the sled pull, getting through those 275-pound deadlifts. Meanwhile, in lane number 3, your current leader on our women's lower extremity, Valerie Cohen, pulling her way through the second round of sled pull.
Rogan Dean, no problem on that final rope climb. He's going to make his way back to the barbell as he is looking to finish up round number 3. We're just past the 4-minute mark.
Bailey Hooper getting in on that second sled pull here for our women in the lower extremity out of lane number 4.
Rogan Dean all done on the deadlifts and back to his final sled pull.
And it looks like Anne Lohi out of lane number 9. Elaine DeRocco also making her way back in for that final round of rope climbs.
Macarena and Cavallo trying to chase down Dean, but Dean able to finish up pulling that last sled. As he now gets ready to move into the final portion of the workout.
We got a little battle on going down here on the women's lower extremity. Valerie Cohen, Bailey Hooper. Both of these athletes at the ropes for the third and final set.
Rogan Dean holding onto his lead as he continues to move the sled. He's trying to be the first athlete to complete this next test. We'll see if he has what it takes to hold off. Here comes Cavallo. He's done with his sled pull. He'll move on to the push.
Amy Bream getting through those 10 deadlifts, making her way back to the sled for a second pull. Bailey Hooper onto the bar for her final set of 10 deadlifts, just 2 set to go. Making good movement on that barbell. Getting low, driving those hips through. 170 pounds on the sled for the women in the lower extremity division. And she is doing a great job on that final sled pull. Look out, lane number 4, Bailey Hooper.
All right, Rogan Dean, final about 10 feet here as he looks to take another event win. Dean out of CrossFit more. Just a couple feet remaining. And let's give it up for our first finisher, Rogan Dean.
Amy Bream moving forward to her final round on the rope climbs at a lane number 5. Meanwhile, Bailey Hooper is going to be the first woman on this field to make her way towards the finish line. She's loaded the sled. Off she goes. Valerie Cohen, Molly Moore, both of these athletes just trying to get up that rope. Amy Bream making her way up the rope, though, out there in 5.
Acree getting close to finishing his sled push out. Carvalho looking to be our second competitor to finish. Just a couple more feet on that sled push as he's able to hold off Felipe.
Bailey Hooper just 10 feet away or so now for taking an event win here, sitting in second overall after the first 3 tests. Bailey Hooper looking to get an event win here for test number 4, right out here on Rogue North Park, pushing her way over the line.
Casey Acree with another event win here at the 2023 No Bull CrossFit Games. Handful of competitors still working here as we just hit the 10-minute mark.
Bailey Hooper takes the heat win, representing women's lower extremity. Lauren Farhat in 1, closing out that second pull. She'll be heading back now for her third and final round on the rope climbs.
And closing in on that 2-minute mark, Samuel Pera trying to finish out his sled push as he takes a quick moment.
But look at the athleticism of Lauren Farhat as she makes light work of that rope climb, wasting no time at all, getting right up there to the top. Back in for her third and final round of deadlifts out of lane number 1, Lauren Farhat.
One minute.
Christina Mazzullo at a Tar Heel CrossFit out there, lane number 8, making a start on her second sled pull.
"30 seconds. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And that is time. Ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause, please, for our men and women in the lower and upper body extremity division for our adaptive groups.
And coming out next, we're going to be bringing our men and women of the multi-extremity adapted division for pulling power coming up next.
Fans, make sure to line the Fan 5K course through the campground this evening to support all athletes competing. The event will begin at the North Park at 6:45. All right, we're going to bring out our athletes in the multi-extremity division, starting off with our men. In lane 11, James Brown. Lane 12, Chris Rhyme. Lane 13, Miguel Pedrini. Lane 14, Antonio Silvestro. And on the ladies' side, lane 6, Courtney Lopez. Lane 7, Amia Reyna. Lane 8, Noelle Henderson. In lane 9, Jordan and Galsby. Lane number 10, Reagan Moser. 1 minute. Thirty seconds. Ten seconds. Athletes stand by. All right, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got test number 4, pulling power. This is our multi-extremity group. So we have 3 rounds for time, 1 rope climb, 10 deadlifts, and then 1 section of that sled pull. The deadlifts for the males, 255, ladies, 165. The sled pull, 215 for the guys, 170 for the females. After those 3 rounds, they're gonna finish out by pushing the sled the length of the field as we've seen in previous heats. And here we go, our competitors getting right to work. 13-minute cap on the workout. Pedrini, one of our first athletes to make his way to the sled. Chris Rhyme also in that mix as well. Those athletes working on that first sled pull. In Galsby, Henderson also working on their sled pulls as well. As we are just about 90 seconds in. So athletes moving very quickly here at the start. How about Chris Rhyme, already done with his first round. He's gonna make his way back towards the rope for round number 2. And here we go, Chris. No problem on that rope climb. So he'll make his way back to the deadlifts as he is now in round 2. Pedrini, done with his first round, making his way back to the rope. How about Henderson? Over here on the female side, starting her second round. And Galsby, not far behind her as she's gonna make her way up the rope for a second time. Just past the 3-minute mark. Silvestro making his way back to the rope for a second time. Amia Reyna as well, working on her second round rope climb. James Brown making his way back to the rope once again. Mia working on her second set of deadlifts, but still in the lead right now. Henderson and Galsby, you're 1 and 2. Right now working on that second sled pull. How about Chris Rhyme? Third and final round here for Chris. So he's able to complete that rope climb, and he will move back to the deadlifts for one final set. Henderson finishing out round number 2. She'll make her way to the rope climbs for her third and final round. Chris Rhyme done with his deadlifts, onto his final sled pull before then getting into the sled push to finish out the event. We are 5:30 in, athletes. All right, Rhyme able to get through the 3 rounds. Only the sled push remains here. So we're approaching the 6:30 mark. 13-minute cap here. So plenty of time still for these athletes to work. All right, all right. Chris moving that sled down the field. He's got 2 sections remaining. Just past 7.5 minutes. Rhyme continuing to dig in as he tries to take another test win here. This is day number 2 of competition here for these adaptive athletes. Some unbelievable performances yesterday and continuing the pace here this afternoon as they will finish up the rest of the day of competition. But right now, we got to work on this sled push. And we've got our eyes on Chris Rhyme right now, your overall leader. Chris continuing to drive. He's got 1 final section remaining. Chris Rhyme just has to get through the painted portion of the field. Final couple feet here, just past the 9-minute mark, 4 minutes remaining, athletes. Henderson also making way on her sled push. But it is going to be Chris Rhyme, our first athlete to finish out test number 4, pulling power. And he will take another event win. And Galsby trying to chase down Henderson. Henderson with a pretty big lead as of right now. We'll see if she can finish it out. Henderson now just needs to work through the painted portion. He's got about 10 feet remaining. Henderson, final couple feet here. And sure enough, it will be Henderson taking another event win as she finished test 4 right before the 10:30 mark. Now we've got 2 more athletes working on those sled pushes. Pederini, he's about halfway through on his. And Galsby trying to finish up her test number 4. We just hit the 11-minute mark. Athletes, 2 minutes remaining. And Galsby approaching that painted area, the final couple feet here. 90 seconds. Jordan and Galsby able to cross the finish line. Athletes, you have 1 minute. One minute remaining. Pederini trying to get his sled across the finish line so he can finish out test number 4. Pulling power. 30 seconds. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. And that is time. Ladies and gentlemen, please, one more round of applause for our men and women in the multi-extremity adaptive division as they finished up test number 4. We're going to quickly swap out the floor as we get ready to bring out our men and women in the 65-plus age groups. Coming up here in just a moment, the 2023 Noble CrossFit Games.
actually, speaking of, I should probably put some sunscreen on. No, you're good. It's just annoying that we don't have this.
It doesn't matter really.
Well, I mean, I'd like to know. Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise and help me welcome our 65 and over men and women from our Masters division. Coming down here in lane 19, Hugo Braun. Lane 18, John Mariotti. Lane 17, John George. Lane 16, David Miller. Lane 15, David Hippensteel. Lane 14, Freddie Cherry. Lane 13, Kevin Cunningham. Lane 12, Tom Mulbauer. And in lane 11, Mark Peters. For the ladies in lane 1, Carolyn Thistle. Lane 2, Marcia Yeager. Lane 3, Karen Dawkins. Lane 4, Pauline Shasha. Lane 5, Julie Holt. Lane 6, David Jensen. Lane 7, Patty Walkover. Lane 8, Paige Lockhart. Lane 9, Silviana Volpe. And in lane 10, Karen Gagalski.
One minute.
Here we go, Pauline. Let's go, Dava. Come on, Julie.
30 seconds. Ten seconds. Athletes stand by.
That's the buzzer. That's the go time to kick off pulling power for our men and women in the 65 and over division. They were taken to 3 rounds for time of 3 rope climbs, 10 deadlifts. They're going to pull that sled 42 feet, do that 3 times, and then take that sled and push it 126 feet all the way to the finish line.
I had the pleasure of calling these athletes just a moment ago inside the Coliseum. If you check up on the big Jumbotron, we have our leaders after those 4 tests. Julie Holt currently sitting in first, David Jensen in second, and Pauline Sasa in third on the ladies' side. And on the men's side, we have David Hippensteel currently in first place, Daniel Miller sitting in second, and Freddie Cherry right now in third place.
All the ladies on this side working towards that 3rd rep on the rope climb before they move to the deadlifts. The ladies lifting 185 pounds for 10 reps each round, and the gentlemen lifting 275 pounds. David Jensen in lane 6, first off the ropes for the ladies.
Couple judges' hands in the air over here on the male side. Hippensteel, George, Miller, Cherry as well, all with judges moving them through these reps.
For the ladies, it goes 1 Jensen, 2 Shasha in lane 4. She's there with the dark pants and tan tank in the middle of the field.
Miller, George, Marathi. 1, 2, and 3 heading towards the ropes.
And how about Miss Carolyn Thistle in lane 1, holding on, going touch and go with this 185-pound deadlift. Last 5 reps for Thistle, last 5 reps for Yeager in lane 2. But it's David Jensen in lane 6 holding on to the lead for the ladies.
How about Miller over here on the guys' side? Wearing the 651 jersey, able to complete round number 1. He'll make his way back to the rope climbs. Marathi and George are not far behind.
We've got Karen Gagalski in lane 10 in the mix, leading the pack for the ladies. She's there in the middle of the field, blue shorts. Gagalski onto the sled, walkover onto the sled. Jensen onto the sled for the ladies. This sled loaded up to 170 pounds. For the women, 195 pounds for the men.
Marathi, George, Miller, Mulder, all working on the rope climbs. Here comes Hippensteel as well.
Six of the gentlemen back to the rig, beginning round 2. We're waiting for our first lady to make it back, and I believe it will be Dava Jensen. Yeah, she's right there. Dark shorts, dark top. Jensen back to the rope, beginning round 2. Round 2 of 3 each round, starting off with 3 rope climbs. Then down the lane to that rogue barbell for 10 reps of the deadlift. Down to the rope for the sled. Pulling the sled down the field for each round, and then they will finish by digging deep and pushing that sled down to the finish line. We're testing their pulling power here. Pulling their weight up that rope, pulling that barbell from the ground, and then pulling that sled down the lane.
Mulber, Miller, hip and steel, all working on that second round of deadlifts. Once again, 275 pounds for these guys. Looks like Miller right now holding on to the lead with 2 reps remaining on the deadlifts.
Jensen taking a quick rest before her final of 3 rope climbs for round number 2.
How about Miller going to work on that second rope pull? Miller continuing to build on his lead. The battle for second, though. Mulbeer right now holding that spot down. George and hip and steel. Hot on his heels. Here comes Braun as well.
Miss Dava Jensen has made it off the rope. And here she goes to the barbell. Round number 2 for our leader as we tick past the 7-minute mark.
Miller able to complete round number 2. He will move on to his 3rd and final round here, just past the 7-minute mark.
Julie Holt in lane 5. Big jump onto the rope as she's going for rep number 3 here in round number 2. Eight minutes in. Working against a 13-minute time cap here for this 3-round burner. Pulling power.
Mulbeer, George, hip and steel. All trying to wrap up that second round. It is going to be Mulbeer, as Tom will make his way back to the rig for the 3rd and final time.
Julie Holt with a couple quick reps at 185. Julie there in the gray pants, dark tank. Making nice quick work of single reps there in lane 5. Karen Gagalski on to her 2nd round of deadlifts.
One more rope climb remaining for Daniel Miller.
And Carolyn Thistle still looking strong in lane 1. Starting off with another big set of unbroken reps. She's down here in the blue tank, dark shorts. Carolyn making moves. And I believe pulling into first place in the heat.
You love to see it. How about that? Miller done with his final rope climb. And Daniel Miller will make his way towards the deadlifts for his third and final round.
3 minutes now on the clock, 3 minutes to work. The leaders of the ladies onto their second sled pull. The leaders of the men onto their final set of rope climbs. This 170-pound sled making these ladies work hard.
We're going to see if Mulbrier can pick up the pace and catch Miller. Miller with a handful rep lead. Miller taking a quick peek and going right back to work. Athletes, you got just under 2 minutes remaining. Less than 5 reps remaining for Miller on the deadlifts.
We've got Julie Holt out in front, now leading the pack for the ladies. She was able to make quick work of that second sled pull and pull ahead of Carolyn and Dava. Just under 90 seconds remain now.
You said it, Logan, just under 90 seconds remaining. Miller with a 4 rep lead over Mulbear. As Miller now will advance to his final sled pull. One minute, athletes. Miller trying to hold on to his lead as he holds on to the rope. His final rope pull here.
Julie Holt in lane 5, fighting to get that rig tap.
30 seconds.
Britton said at North Park, we're in the final 20 seconds of the heat. Final 15 to keep these athletes moving. Every rep will count here before our 13-minute time cap. Less than 10 seconds remain. Athletes, I'm counting you down here in 3, 2, 1, time.
All right, great job, Masters men and women in the 65-plus division. As we get ready to bring out our men and women in the 60 to 64 age groups. Coming up here in just a moment, the 2023 Noble CrossFit Games.
Britton, did you know that hard work pays off? HWPO training is for those who like to show up and work hard. If you're a hard worker looking for a program to better your bests in and out of the gym, sign up for HWPO training today. Ladies and gentlemen of the North Park, please make some noise as we welcome the men and women from our 60 to 64-year-old Masters division. Down here leading the way out to lane 20, Mr. John Gary. Lane 19, Patrick McCarty. Lane 18, Eric Cohen. Lane 17, Brian Wilson. Lane 16, Stuart Swanson. Lane 15, Shannon Aiken. Lane 14, Tom Famery. Lane 13, Tony Tursky. Lane 12, Michael Wall. And in lane 11, Gerardo Chiatti. On the ladies, starting down there in lane 1, Georgina Jardin. Lane 2, Giannina Titus. Lane 3, Debbie Downing. Lane 4, Patricia McGill. Lane 5, Susan Clark. Lane 6, Betsy Vanderberg. Lane 7, Judith Tynan. Lane 8, Debbie Corwin. Lane 9, Yvonne Howard. And in lane 10, Miss Lynn Knappman. One minute. "30 seconds, athletes."
So I'm gonna take this up there. This needs to go to video.
10 seconds. Athletes, stand by. And they're off. The men and women of our 60 to 64-year-old Masters division taken to pulling power. Their 5th test here at the 2023 Noble CrossFit Games. We're giving them 3 rounds for time. Each round starting off with 3 rope climbs, then moving on to 10 deadlifts. The gentlemen lifting 275 pounds, the ladies lifting 185. And then onto a 42-foot sled pull. We've got that sled loaded up to 195 for the gentlemen, 170 pounds for these Masters. Ladies, they'll complete 3 rounds of that and then make their way back to their sled and push that sled down to the baseline. And we're giving them 13 minutes to do so. 13-minute time cap here on the North Park. Off the rope first. In the group, leading the pack, John Gary, Stuart Swanson, Tony Tursky's in the mix, as well as Michael Wall on the gentleman's side. And the ladies leading the pack all the way down and onto their sleds already. Not even 2 minutes in. And these ladies looking to wrap up round number 1. Betsy Vanderberg in lane 6 down there in the black shorts, tan tank. Neck and neck with Susan Clark in lane 5. After the first 4 tests, your leader of this division is also your leader of the heat, Miss Susan Clark in lane 5. She's there in the blue tank, black leggings. She's back to the rig, first round complete for Miss Clark. This is this division's 5th test. So after the first 4, Susan Clark in first for the ladies, Betsy Vanderberg in second, and Patricia McGill rounding out the top 3 for the ladies. Your 1 and 2 in the division are your 1 and 2 of the heat. Susan Clark in 5, Betsy Vanderberg in lane 6. And here comes Miss Debbie Downing in all gray, lane 3. Games veteran rounding out the top 3 for the ladies. For the gentlemen, as they begin their 5th test here at the North Park, we've got Tony Tursky holding on to first place in the division, Stuart Swanson in second, and Eric Cohen in third. That's their standing after their first 4 tests. We'll see who wants 100 points here. Pulling power going down here in the North Park. Stuart Swanson with 2 more rope climbs to go for round number 2. Eric Cohen on his final rope climb for round 2. And that will do it for the division leader of the event. This test being led by Eric Cohen, lane 18 for the gentleman, that tan t-shirt, gray shorts. He's first to get back to the barbell. 10 reps here at 275 for Eric. Swanson in second for the gentleman. Famery in lane 14, just steps behind him, rounding out the top 3. It goes 1, Cohen, 2, Swanson, 3, Famery for the gentleman. As we cross the 5-minute mark. The ladies leading the pack all the way back to their sleds already. Sled pull number 2 going down for our test leaders. Betsy Vanderberg in lane 6, Susan Clark in lane 5. And Susan in the blue tank, black leggings, able to hold on to the lead of the heat. 2 rounds complete for Susan. And she's back to the rig to start round number 3. 3rd and final round about to go down here for our leading ladies. Clark taps the rig. 1 rep down for Clark. Last 2 rope climbs remain. And 1 rope climb down for Vanderberg just behind Clark. The race on the lady side. Lanes 5 and 6 right next to each other. Susan Clark, lane 5, blue tank, black leggings. Betsy Vanderberg, dark shorts, tan tank. Vanderberg really utilizing the whole length of her body, getting her feet up there and extending up to tap the rig just behind Susan. And look at that, Vanderberg strikes first. Third and final rope climbs going down for our leading ladies. And here comes our leading gentleman, Eric Cohen, lane 18, leading the pack for the guys. Cohen, one rope climb done. And Vanderberg out in front for the ladies, surpassing Susan Clark as we pass the 8-minute mark. Just under 5 minutes remain on the clock. Final 5 reps for Betsy Vanderberg. Now out in front, leading the pack, lane 6. That grip strength fatiguing as we're making these athletes hold on to their body weight, getting up the rope, holding on to that barbell for 10 reps at a time, and pull that sled down the field. Eric Cohen now. Gripping and ripping, chipping away at his final 10 deadlifts. Cohen going for singles. We've got Tursky onto his final round, Tom Femery onto his final round. But about to wrap up round number 3. Please bring your eyes to lane 6 on the ladies' side. Betsy Vanderberg. Betsy there, grabbing that rope, piling it onto her sled. As we cross the 10-minute mark, just under 3 minutes remain. We'll see if Betsy can dig deep and push that 170-pound sled down into the baseline. What do you say, North Park? Let's get behind these athletes out here working hard. They've got just over 2 minutes left to work. Betsy's digging deep. She's got one length of the field complete with 2 minutes on the clock. 2 minutes remain. Eric Cohen pulling that sled back down for his final length. Cohen in lane 18 is holding on to the lead for the gentlemen. Betsy Vanderberg holding on for the ladies. "90 seconds remain. And how about that, Miss Betsy? Goes for another length. Just over 42 feet remain between Betsy's sled and that baseline. 1 minute on the clock. And there she goes. She's not stopping. She's pushing that sled. Let's get Miss Betsy Vanderberg over that finish line. She's got just over 30 seconds to work. And give it up for our first finisher, Miss Betsy Vanderberg. Final 15 seconds here. Let's keep it moving, Madison. Last 10 seconds. Athletes, I'm counting you down here in your final 3, 2, 1, time. That's right, North Park. Keep that round of applause going for men and women in the 60 to 64-year-old division. A huge thank you to Rogue for providing all of the equipment here for the games. Rogue is the official equipment sponsor of CrossFit, so be sure to grab your gear at roguefitness.com and try out some of these workouts for yourself. And how about that event team out here working hard, switching out the weights? We're going down in age group in our Masters division, so we're going up in weight. Loading these barbells up to 325 for the men and 215 for the ladies. Our event team and medical team out here working hard. If you guys want to give them a round of applause, big thank you, guys. And here they come, Madison. our men and women from the 55 to 59-year-old division. Leading the pack out here, heading down to lane 20, David Usandizaga. Lane 19 is Joseph Lopez. Lane 18, Anders Amrin. Lane 17, Jody Hendricks. Lane 16, Ryan Joe Hamby. Lane 15, Kevin Kester. Lane 14, Robert Davis. Lane 13, John Kim. Lane 12, Diane Walmsley. And in lane 11, Lee Emerson Caparelli. For the ladies in lane 1, Miss Lee Coates. Lane 2, Linda Elston. Lane 3, Tracy Makawiba. Lane 4, Shanna Bunce. Lane 5, Lekka Feynman. Lane 6, Jennifer Kawaguchi. Lane 7, Lori Machesnik. Lane 8, Christy Lenny. Lane 9, Mari Cruz Prieto. And in lane 10, Kim Stambaugh. One minute, athletes. Thirty seconds. Ten seconds. Athletes, stand by. And they're off. The ladies and gentlemen of the 55 to 59-year-old Masters division taking to pulling power. Their 5th test here at the 2023 Noble CrossFit Games. We're giving them 3 rounds, 3 rope climbs, 10 deadlifts, and a sled pull. After those 3 rounds, they will take that sled and push it all the way down to the baseline. We're going for time here. The deadlifts for the gentlemen loaded up to 325 pounds. The ladies lifting 215. And we've got those sleds loaded all the way up to 215 pounds for the gentlemen and 195 for the ladies. Kester off his 3 rope climbs. Kim done with his. But Lee Emerson Caparelli in lane 11 was first off the ropes. Caparelli, his judge, making sure that he gets that full hip extension at the top of those heavy deadlifts. Kester in lane 15, final 5 reps. Kester coming into this test, sitting in first place. Behind him in second, Ryan Joe Hamby. And rounding out the top 3 for this division, John Kim. After 4 tests complete. For the ladies, Shanna Bunce, lane 4, out in front. Lekka Feynman, lane 5, behind her. We're testing these athletes pulling power. Pulling themselves up the rope for 3 reps per round. Pulling that rogue barbell from the ground for 10 reps per round. And our leading athletes all the way down to our third movement, that sled pull. The ladies' sleds loaded up to 195. The gentlemen's loaded up to 215. Miss Shanna Bunce, lane 4, leading the pack for the ladies. Shanna in the blue tank, green shorts. McChesnick behind her, lane 7. McChesnick there in the gray pants, dark tank. And Lekka Feynman rounding out the top 3 for the ladies. Lekka in lane 5. Black leggings, blue tank. For the gentlemen, it's Kevin Kester out in front. Back to the rig. Dion Walmsley in lane 12. 2 rope climbs to go. Lee Emerson Caparelli in lane 11. Rounding out the top 3 for the gentlemen. The leaders of the pack on the gentlemen's side. Back to the rig. This is round 2. And there it is, a rig tap for Kester in lane 15. Kester there in the tan shorts, white headband. Chalking up as he marches down his lane. He heads back to his 325-pound barbell. And here we go, next 10 reps for Kester in lane 15. Bunce remains in the lead for the ladies. She's in lane 4. Middle of the field, blue tank. Bunce looking to wrap up round 2 as she's on her final feet of the sled pull. Approaching the 6-minute mark. Your leader on the ladies' side, Shanna Bunce, has wrapped up round number 2. Bunce is now back to the rig for her 3rd and final round. And there she goes. She wastes no time. Gets those feet up nice and high. Good clamp of the rope between the feet. And first rep done for Shanna. Each round, 3 reps of the rope climb, 10 deadlifts, and 42 feet of sled pulling. And then we're having those athletes take that sled and push it all the way down the field. Kevin Kester holding on to first place for the gentlemen as we cross the 7-minute mark. Here comes Feynman. Feynman coming into this test, sitting in 2nd place for the ladies. She is behind Jennifer Kawaguchi and just ahead of Christy Lunny in third. Your 1, 2, and 3 ladies for the 55 to 59-year-old division. Shanna Bunt sitting in 4th place in the division. She's in lane 4, and she is out in front looking to take a test win here at the North Park. And look at Shanna opening it up with a big set of touch and go reps, 215 pounds on the deadlifts. Final 3 reps for Bunts in lane 4. Christy Lunny in lane 8. Blue tank, black leggings. Back to the rig. First rope climb complete for Lunny in this 3rd and final round. Kester, final 3 rope climbs complete. Kester in 1st place in his division after 4 tests. This is test number 5. Lee Emerson Caparelli in lane 11, looking to chase down Kester in lane 15. Caparelli in lane 11, blue t-shirt, tan shorts. Kester out in front, tan shorts, white headband. And how about this for the ladies? Our leader has completed her 3 rounds. She's back to the sled, loads up the rope. And Shanna Bunts is holding on to the lead as she begins to march that sled down her lane. Shanna taking a quick break in lane 4. She is being chased down by Christy Lunny. Lunny looking to wrap up these deadlifts. Lekka Feynman on her final sled pull. As we tick past the 10-minute mark, less than 3 minutes remain. Our leader across the field is in lane 4. She is pushing 195 pounds on that sled. Last few feet for Bunts. And ladies and gentlemen of the North Park, I'm going to need you to put your hands together and make some noise as she pushes that sled into the end zone. And gets those feet across the finish line. Make some noise for Miss Shanna Bunts. Shanna is in, Lekka's pushing that sled. And Mr. Kevin Kester looking to hold on to his lead. He's on to the final sled push. As we tick to the 12-minute mark, athletes, you have 1 minute. 1 minute remains. McChesnick onto the final sled push. Feynman onto the final sled push. Kester looking to get that sled over that end zone. Athletes, you have 30 seconds. What do you say, North Park? Can we keep them moving? Let's make some noise. Their final 15 seconds. They're working hard. Let's leave it out here all in the field. Last 10 seconds. Final 3, 2, 1, time. Great work from the men and women from our 55 to 59-year-old division. And do not go anywhere as we bring out our last heat of Masters athletes to take to Pulling Power here at the North Park. Fans, make sure to line the Fan 5K course through the campground this evening to support all of the athletes competing. The event will begin here in the North Park at 6:45 p.m. Here they come. Please put your hands together for our men and women from the 50 to 54-year-old Masters division. On the gentlemen's side, heading all the way down to lane 20, Bob Ruano. Lane 19, Nathan Lauren. Lane 18, Randy Lowe. Lane 17, Corey Daig. Lane 16, Arthur Komorowski. Lane 15, Sean Patrick. Lane 14, Jason Levies. Lane 13, Eric Smith. Lane 12 is Clint Paddock. And in lane 11, Matt Sia. On the ladies' side, in lane 1, Miss Cindy Hinkle. Lane 2, Lori Pruitt. Lane 3, Tara Gemmer. Lane 4, Nathalie Connors. Lane 5, Cheryl Brost. Lane 6, Nicole Abbott. Lane 7, Tia Gebby. Lane 8, Kim Purdy. Lane 9, Jan Rovick. And in lane 10, Julie Rappaport. One minute. Thirty seconds. Ten seconds. Stand by. There they go, ladies and gentlemen, the men and women of our 50 to 54-year-old division taken to pulling power, their 5th test here at the 2023 Noble CrossFit Games. Pulling power, we're testing their pulling strength with 3 rounds of 3 rope climbs, 10 deadlifts, and 42 feet of a sled pull. The men's barbells on the deadlift loaded up to 325. The ladies loaded up to 215. And that sled loaded to 215 for the gentlemen and 195 for the ladies. 3 rounds and finishing it off with taking that sled and marching it all the way down their lane into the end zone. We're going for time here at the North Park Pulling Power. After their first 4 tests, Jason Levies is in first place in the division. Jason Leaves, thank you. Arthur Komorowski holding on to second place in the division, and Corey Daig in 3rd for the gentlemen. All of our athletes making quick work of those first 3 rope climbs. 10 deadlifts complete for our leaders on the men and women's side, and now it's on to the sled pull. Tia Gebby in lane 7, I believe first to strike on this 42 feet of sled pulling. Nicole Abbott and Cheryl Brost neck and neck in lanes 6 and 5. A few gentlemen have made their way down to the sled pull. Smith, Leaves, and Patrick. All pulling that sled down the lane. But again, it is a lady out in front, leading the pack for the entire age group. Tia Gebby, lane 7. Black leggings, gray tank. Gebby now back to the rig, beginning round number 2. Nicole Abbott begins round number 3, as well as Nathalie Connors. Nathalie in lane 4, blue tank, dark shorts. Cheryl Brose beginning round 2, lane 5. Jason Leaves with 2 rope climbs to go for round 2. Clint Paddock completes his first rope climb of round 2. Final rope climb here for Sean Patrick in lane 15. Blue t-shirt, dark shorts. Final rope climb for Jason Leaves, lane 14. Patrick and Leaves off the rope at the same time, and there they go, neck and neck, lanes 14 and 15. They're making their way back to the barbell, loaded up to 325 pounds. 10 reps here. Tia Gebby remains leading the pack in lane 7 for the ladies. She's looking to wrap up round number 2 here. She pulls that 195-pound sled, 42 more feet. As we cross the 5-minute mark, 5 minutes in.
Take a minute. Don't rush. Don't rush it. Jeff, look over here. Tell me when you're ready. Don't just look at the rope. Tell me when you're ready. Don't rush. Don't rush.
Gebby marches that rope down her lane. She is 2 rounds in. Third and final round here for Gebby, leading the pack for the ladies, lane 7. Nicole Abbott in lane 6, wrapping up round 2, as well as Nathalie Connors in lane 4. Connors and Abbott neck and neck for second place in the heat. The leaders of the ladies have wrapped up 2 rounds. And now it's on to the third and final round. 3 rope climbs, 10 deadlifts. Final 42 feet of pulling that 195-pound sled down the lane. Tia Gebby.
Corey Daig on my side, closing out the final couple of feet, and he's over the line on that second sled pull.
Nicole Abbott in lane 6 with her first of her final 3 rope climbs complete, as well as Nathalie Connors. Connors in the blue, Abbott in the gray top, These ladies going rep for rep, holding on to second place in the heat.
Bob Ruano over here in 20 through the deadlifts of the second round. Heads out for his second sled pull.
Final rope climb going up for Miss Tia Gebby. Tia has completed the rope climbs. Throwing some water on that neck, and here she goes, wasting no time, gripping and ripping, 2:15. Going touch and go. Tia Gebby in the middle of the field. Black leggings, gray tank. Final 5 reps here for your leader.
Corey Day got hit in 17. He has 1 rope climb remaining on his final round of 3. He's scaling straight up there. No problem at all, closing out that final climb.
We've got Nicole Abbott and Nathalie Connors chasing down Tia Gebby. Tia has completed her final 10 deadlifts, and she's back to the sled. Almost to the halfway point. Final 42 feet of 195-pound sled pull.
The male athletes, 325-pound deadlift in this 50 to 54 division. Corey Daig out here in 17, repping it out, touch and go. Incredible strength. He's getting through 7 of those 10 reps.
Tia has completed all of her pulling here in pulling power as she loads up that rope onto the sled. All that remains between Tia and that finish line is the final sled push, going down the entire length of the field. As we cross the 10-minute mark, 3 minutes remain on the clock.
I got Nathan Lauren here from CrossFit Fort Vancouver. 5 reps remaining for him. Randy Lowe from CrossFit Hooked, also working through these deadlifts. But Corey Daig looks to be the first of the men in this division to start his 3rd and final pull. Can he make it over that finish line for this 4th test in this cap?
Tia for the ladies. First to start on the sled push, she looks over her shoulder, seeing where the competition is at. She is about halfway through this final sled push. Nathalie Connors now begins.
I got Jason Leaves from Fitness Lab CrossFit out in 14. Pulling his way into that last pull. Nathan Lauren from CrossFit Fort Vancouver's through the deadlifts, and he is on the pull. Corey Daig, though, is loading up his sled, ladies and gentlemen, for that final push to the line, 126 feet. To get him over the line, he's making a start right now.
90 seconds on the clock, final push. Gebby leading the pack for the ladies.
Corey Daig leading it for the men over here. Closing it down, driving hard through those quads.
Oh, that looks cute. I mean, the pants are a bold choice.
As we cross the final 1-minute mark, the final few feet remain for Tia Gebby, leading the pack for the ladies. The race for second going down between Connors and Abbott.
Nathan Lauren also on the move out at 19. CrossFit Fort Vancouver's athlete. Can he make it over the line? Chasing down Corey Dake there in the middle.
Just over 30 seconds remain. We had our first finisher across the line, Miss Tia Gebby. Less than 30 seconds remain. Connor's just feet away. Abbott just feet away.
Corey Dake on his knees. He's got to get up and push over that line. Has he got it?
Final 10 seconds. Last 3, 2, 1, time.
Congratulations to the men and women of the 50 to 54 age group. Test number 4 complete for pulling power. Don't forget, test number 6 later on this afternoon. Fans, please make sure you line the 5K course through the campground this evening. We're going to support all the athletes competing in that 5K event. The event will begin right here in Rogue North Park at 6:45 p.m. later on this evening.